Awesome. So awesome, Pedro. Thank you for being a part of the OPSM podcast. On the left hand of the screen, we have Jesse Falanga, who is the OPSM GM. And then at the bottom of the screen, we have Pedro Neto, who is the Academy head coach as well at Portimonese. So thank you for being a part of the podcast, Pedro.
Thank you for having me. And it's a pleasure to be here and talk about football with you. And in these strange times, we can find ways to keep talking about a subject that we love so much, like football.
Yeah, I know that for about 3 years now, since 2017, I've been going to Portugal every year. I was living in Lisbon for 3 months. I also, was able to visit Lisbon. I lived in Lisbon for a bit. And I also had the opportunity to go to Açores,
Okay.
And the Algarves. And I also went to the
Algarve.
Algarves, to watch Cristiano play against, I think it was Lithuania in the qualifiers. So
Okay.
I love Portugal. I love Portuguese people. I love the food. What's the food called? That tart. It's like a
Portuguese custard tart.
Yeah, I love those.
Yeah, and they're fantastic.
But yeah, so I guess
With cinnamon on top.
yeah, yeah, exactly, with cinnamon on top. I guess my first question for you, Pedro, is obviously with your soccer football background, where did football originate from for you, and where did it all begin?
I think it all began with a normal kid playing football or soccer, as you call it, in the streets with friends. So any break on school, and then I decided when I was 12, 13 years old, I don't quite remember, to join a small club called Alvorense in a small village. It's a very small club, 5 miles from where I'm living. And I play there for 3-4 years. And then I moved to Portimonese Academy, where I played another 4-5 years. At Portimonese, we played a very good level for Portuguese academy level, so equivalent to the first and second division, national division. But all starts with a passion to play a game. So is a very cheap sport, and you just need a ball and friends. And then back in the day, I was very little, and then we had a player which for me is the best player because he's my first favorite player ever, which is Luis Figo. He was breaking up in Sporting Lisbon, and then everyone was trying to play like him. And then move on from there, keep playing. I never played as a player, never played at the highest level, as a professional level, because in Algarve, not many professional clubs, and obviously probably I didn't have the quality enough to achieve that kind of level. And I always wanted to carry on with my studying. So I went to uni. I kept playing in a amateur, semi-pro, I would say amateur level. And when I was on my second year of university studying sports science, I decided to start my career as a coach. So I began as an assistant coach under 14, an assistant coach, and training a little ones under 6, 7, like grassroots, and began from there.
Go ahead, Jess.
Yeah, so moving on, you went on to England and you came back. How was that transition going to Charlton for a bit? And what did you learn up there?
Okay, so that was a funny part. So I was in a club. I started coaching in a club called Football Clube Ferreiras
Mm-hmm.
in a town called Albufeira,
Mm-hmm.
and then I moved back to Portimonese to be under 19s assistant coach.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we spent there 3, 4 seasons. I don't remember.
Mm.
This was back in 2006. Yeah, 4 seasons. And then I applied and I started doing my master degree. And I was awarded with a scholarship to find a work experience.
Oh, wow.
So I put a backpack and went to London. And then I was knocking on people's door and sending emails.
Mm-hmm.
And then somehow I met a guy. We have a common friend. So I met a guy who knows someone who work at Charlton. So I went there for an interview and said, "Listen, I have a scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
I need to do this placement for 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm working for free for you for 6 months. Well, once you have a canteen, I would love could eat for free if that help. That would help because London is a very expensive place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it works like that. Obviously, I had a lot of support. I have a friend in London that he gave me a lot of support in terms to stay on his place until I find a room to stay.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a kind of craziness slash lucky because I left Portugal. It's not a big journey; it's a safe journey,
Mm-hmm.
but I left on my own, and then I spent 6 months there, and then I put when I was looking to their academy, which is very good academy.
Yeah.
It's very good. They produce a lot of players. They are very well organized. They have everything that a player and a coach needs to produce and perform.
Mm.
Um, you're not when you get there, you're not gonna watch a fancy facilities,
Mm-hmm.
but when you start asking for things you need to work,
Yeah.
Mm.
they have it. Of course, here, and it's not a perfect place because nothing is perfect.
Yeah.
It's very good and a very family environment.
Mm.
So I put some ideas together, and then I gave it to the academy manager and said, "This has been amazing 6 months here. I would love to keep carry on working with you,
Mm-hmm.
but I put some ideas on this document. Have a look and let me know."
Mm.
I just and I actually say I'm not looking for crazy money. I'm just looking to earn enough to live in London.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And then from that placement, they offer me a contract, and then I stayed for 1 year, and then become 2, and then become 3, and then I spent 5 years in London until a head coach called José Augusto, a
Mm-hmm.
Portuguese head coach, invite me to be his assistant. So in this process, I have to say, on this process, I've done all my UEFA B, UEFA A license,
Mm-hmm.
and then which I was doing. I was living in London, and
Mm-hmm.
I was doing my UEFA A license in Portugal, which made me travel every single week to Lisbon.
Mm-hmm.
And I slept in all the airports available in between England and Portugal. Um, and then I was invited I got this invitation from José Augusto,
Mm-hmm.
which was the head coach I was working with when I was at Portimonese under 19s assistant coach. So he got promoted to the first team,
Mm-hmm.
and he invite me to join him. And then at the day was a decision which was a great year, but was a decision taken by passion, because obviously I was invited to come for the first team of my own town club,
Yeah.
with a project to get promoted
Yeah.
to the first league. And obviously I had my family here, my girlfriend and my son, and I was, this is much easier if I go back home for one season or two. And then that's why it made me come back. But in the same way, I have to say that I would love go back to England one day again.
Pedro, that was I had a question. Obviously, you know, with your time in England, specifically with Charlton, obviously you coaching at academy level compared to you coaching in Portugal. What would you say are like the main difference that, you know, the academy system in England is compared to Portugal?
I think, well, obviously, the country and the football there has a lot more money.
Yeah.
And then that allow for you to have, as an academy, to have more full-time staff.
Yes.
And that help you in a way that, for instance, in Portimonese Academy, we don't have many full-time staff, which is sometimes hard to manage people because they have been working for 8 hours, stressful works, family, and then come back to football. And sometimes we have to demand, but sometimes you have to manage because we understand people have hard jobs, they don't get a lot of money. And at the other hand, at Charlton, we had even to the level in England, there were not many full-time staff, but we had a lot of full-time staff.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of time to plan, to talk, to reorganize your ideas, to adjust your plan. Because imagine I have a coach here that he delivered his training session today, and then he go back home. We have to spend time with his family, and then next morning go to work. And while he's working, he perhaps he's thinking about football. But it's not the same way that I found at Charlton, and these have a huge impact. And then I have to say, in terms of structure, at Charlton, we had a full pitch for every age group. Obviously, they all train in different times, and there were some age groups they have to share one pitch, AstroTurf. But the under 14s, 15s, 16s, and under 18s, and then under 21s on a day, back in the day. Now it's under 23, I think. They all had one pitch for them to work. So this increased a lot the quality of your work. Increase the quality of the work, the way the players have to perform, and here, for example, we struggle to manage how we plan our sessions in terms of optimize the time we have available. So we have a slot of 19 minutes, and we have to plan our drills, where we set the drills, how many drills do we have to set, and how quick those transitions from one drill to another will be, in terms to exploit all the available time we have on that training session. Comparing to the experience at Charlton, we don't have that issue because we had a lot of space to set up. So we just set up. That's a different environment. And obviously, in terms of population, and I'm talking about things that will not go straight into the coach intervention of the coach. Charlton is based in Greenwich, and Greenwich has a lot of population and a lot of players. And then we scout very good players. Joe Gomez is one of them. He's playing for Liverpool. And then that was a help. In terms of difference, I feel that the clubs there are a lot more organized, and that help a lot. And then people are, that's what I feel, that people are more willing to change if they feel that is the right way to perform and to produce more players. Comparing to the experience I have in Portugal, sometimes people are more attached to old routines in terms of this club organization, expression like, we ever done like this, so why we changed?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think that the Portuguese coaches are a lot more creative because we have to face so many difficulties in terms of clubs organization, lack of space, that we are required to think outside the box. And then I think that is one of the reasons why we have so many coaches working abroad and having success, not just going to coach in Italy, England, France, America, etc., and just be there. No, we have Jorge Jesus in Flamengo having success. We have Mourinho had these major successes, not so much achieving so much. Well, I would love to achieve what he has been achieving last 5 years, but comparing where he was before, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
We have AVB, Leonardo Jardim. We have so many coaches. Nuno Espírito Santo went to Championship, promoted Wolverhampton to the Premier League, and doing fantastically. And I think that will, when we are resilient enough to go through these hard moments where we have tough conditions to work, and when you can step into the other side, when people give you all the conditions, then you can make the difference so much easier.
Yeah, Pedro, you kind of answered my next question about, why Portuguese managers are being taken out of Portugal and being, shipped everywhere. So I kind of ask about the young players then. So obviously Benfica, Porto, and Sporting, they dominate Portuguese football. And at youth level, how do the smaller teams, cope with their players constantly being taken or going away out of the country?
You mean first team level?
First team level and down as well, I would say.
It's. I think I'm a strong believer. We have very, very good players. We have a very, very prepared academy coaches, and we produce a lot of good players playing in our second league, and also our first league, not on a very top clubs. What I feel is, imagine yourself being a player playing in a club that usually stays in the middle of the table. And I'll not say all of them have quality enough to be at Benfica or Sporting or Porto, obviously not. But you are a very good player. You perhaps have quality enough to be on their squad. But because the club have money and power to go and buy other players from Brazil, Argentina, wherever. And then you feel, and I think this is a fair point in my opinion. And then they feel, okay, I'm having a good salary, but I can go and play for a club that pay me a lot more, and also allow me to play in competitions like European League and Champions League. Some players or managers leave the country, obviously because they're going to get a lot more money, but also because they can compete in competitions that that's the dream, isn't it? So I mentioned Jorge Jesus, Leonardo Jardim, Nuno Espírito Santo, AVB. I could name it a few more, but I mentioned 4 already. And if these four managers were coaching in Portugal, one of them wouldn't be on a European competitions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you think in this way, well, I have to go abroad. I have
Mm.
to go to Spain. I have to go to Italy. I have to go to England.
Mhm.
So I think that was one of the reasons for players that not achieved the big three clubs in Portugal. I would say the big four. I would put
Mhm.
Braga
Braga, yeah.
and Guimarães as well. They have a fantastic fan base, amazing environment, very cool, big club.
Mhm.
So when they not achieve those five clubs, the players are looking to go somewhere else for a new challenge.
Yeah. My other question was just, there's a lot of Brazilian influence in Portugal. Now, I know that obviously colonization and the ties between the country, but in terms of just all the Brazilian players in the Portuguese divisions, what does that bring towards, Portuguese football?
Well, one of the things that obviously Brazil they have a lot and great players.
Mhm.
It's undeniable.
Mhm.
However, I think the main reason is because is in some clubs is because is a way that you can bring something new to your club
Mhm.
that and for a cheap price.
Mhm.
So if I have this Portuguese player that everyone recognizes very good technically, and he can make a difference on the game, and you'll have a couple of Portuguese clubs fighting for him.
Mhm.
And if you go to Serie B, C, or D in Brazil, you find a couple players like him
Mhm.
that would come to Portugal for a low salary compared to this player,
Mhm.
just because they're looking for, not just because, obviously they're looking for opportunity to break up in Europe.
Yeah.
So this is a door the Brazilian players use in Portugal because we speak the same language. We have a lot of common,
Mhm.
and then so the clubs look for a player to come and bring something new to that club, to their squad,
Mhm.
because we perhaps don't have those kind of players, so many available here. And
Mhm.
then the other side, we have Brazilian players that are looking to come to Europe and have this opportunity. So it's like a perfect marriage.
Yeah, it works.
Pedro, talking about the England side and obviously the Portuguese side of football. What are the values as a coach that you look into a player that makes you like, this is a player that's going to make it to the next level as a coach, as a manager? What are the values that you're looking for a player?
Well, the first one, and always hard to maintain, but I would say this is what keep anyone in any business,
Mhm.
is how willing you are to be a footballer. So I personally don't like people that kind of want it,
Mhm.
because I want to be a footballer, yeah, but you have to go to bed at 10 o'clock and travel tomorrow and not going out on Saturday night.
Mhm.
But what about my girlfriend? Forget
Mhm.
about her. You have to date with her on a Tuesday night.
Mhm.
But Tuesday night is not fun. That's why that's what it is, be a footballer. And
Yeah.
if you make it, you can go to Dubai on a Tuesday night
Yes.
in 10 years time. But
Yeah,
you pick.
yeah,
So this is so players sometimes they're not willing to work or to make choices.
Mhm.
So I'm deal very well with players that, and I had these players in academy level. I can say that I had a player he was a skipper in the
Mhm.
team. We get promoted to the first under 19s division in Portugal, and he always said, "I don't want to be a footballer, but I won't waste my time here. We're here to make something big." And
Oh,
then he lead everyone. because it was a very, he said, if we're here, we have to make it something special.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I want to help players to become footballers. And so this is, I'm looking to how hard they are able to give up on things to be a professional footballer.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is in the mental side, obviously. We have a player here, just to give an example. He lives in a town in 25 in miles, maybe 15 miles from here, okay? Yeah. And he gets a train to our town. He gets on a train station. He rides his bike to the club.
Wow.
He trains, and then he rides back to the train, and then he goes back home. When I'm in bed, he's still traveling, perhaps, or having a dinner at home. So I'm for sure this player in there mentally is very strong. So no one gonna break him mentally. This is a very important point for me. But also when I look to a player, I look how clever he is on the pitch.
Yeah.
In terms of how he can read the game, his awareness, how he can interpret the game, understand the principles of the game, offensive and defensive principles. Because in my opinion, if the players can understand the fundamental principles, they don't need to talk about them or to know how to talk about them. But if they recognize what's happening around them and they know what they should apply in terms of decision making on the pitch, they can perform in any system, in any environment.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have players that are more keen to play a possession game. Other players are more physical and they like to chase, go for 1v1 situations. That's more specific. And then obviously we have to look on that as well. But I like to see that the player knows, he doesn't know how to do it, but he knows what to do it.
Yeah.
That persists more. And that makes a difference because we have a lot of players, they know how to do everything. They know all the flicks, all the tricks, but they know what to do in the right moment. That's where I put my eyes on. Yeah, this guy always know what to do in this particular moment. Obviously, we have to zoom in terms of his age. So at his age, what he should be able to do it. And if he's doing, well, good. But I have to say, like, sometimes when I look to players, even on first team level, in terms of he's not doing this and that well, but he hasn't been in an environment with good coaching. So if he has this lot of potential, and if he's still missing that, and if he's a good learning, keen to learn, well, so we have to take him as well.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pedro. That's noted. On the subject of winning the Euro, I gotta ask, what did that mean for you, and how was that for the country as well?
That meant a couple of beers. I remember that day, and I was traveling to Lisbon with my brother, and we were rushing in traffic to get back home to watch the game. On the football side, well, I think that was fantastic. We didn't perform the best football ever. I think we played a lot better in 2004
in Portugal.
And Portugal, and we didn't made it. But I think the players understood that they found the way they would be playing this way. We are competitive and building this way, playing this way. We creating big chances. The odds become on our side, and then that build a lot of confidence, I would say, in our players. and even more in our coaches. I believe as a coach we are very, very confident, but that put a big stamp on our football. And at the other hand, perhaps make our football very attractive in terms of scouting coaches and players even more. But that was a big mark. And a year or 2 years after that, I think 2 years after that, we won the Confederation Cup as well. At the same day, we won the World Cup for futsal. That was great. So winning is always good. And I think the good point on that is we didn't deny the identity we create on that team to win the competition. We're not pretending we played well. This is what we are. This is the way we're gonna do. And if you make it, if you don't, well, that was our plan.
A lot of fighting spirit in that team. A lot of fighting spirit.
That was. Yeah.
How did you feel when Ronaldo left the game? Did you still think you're going to win?
In
the finals, especially.
I think obviously in terms of the player that sub him, Ricardo Quaresma is an outstanding player as well. It's not a finisher guy. He's not a killer like Ronaldo is on the box, obviously, but he's an outstanding player. What I felt was like, if in this moment these guys stuck together, and if he survived the next 10-15 minutes without conceding a goal, well, they'll start believing, and then this will become a war, and we'll have more chances, and then it happened. And when you get, obviously, I remember 2 moments just before the ref blew the whistle. There were a ball on the post, obviously. I think France played, especially the first half, much better than us, obviously. I think the extra time was very even, in my point of view. I think when the game went towards the end, we start believing, well, we're gonna make this, and then players start get bigger. Then I think France start feeling that, we if we're gonna lose this match against Portugal without Ronaldo, it'll be you know what I mean? But it's still a hard match that I still not able to watch it without emotion. Because however, I would say that the play that lead us to the goal, that's a fantastic play where you have those principles I mentioned before. You had players facing not facing backwards the opposition goal, and they passed the ball. You had the fundamental principles of driving the ball, passing, of the offensive cover, shield the ball with your body, receive the ball in off turn, and passing movement from Quaresma. So that play is I actually use that play when I deliver webinars, because that's a perfect play. There's no big game model there of playing game. It's just players applying the principles of the game. Just players.
Top players. Pedro, I have one more question for you. Side of a question. So I don't know if you support Benfica, but the Bela Gutmann curse in the finals of the European Cups. Do you believe in that? And is it a real thing in Portugal?
Well, I'm not a strong believer in many things that I cannot see. I would put things in this way. I'm not a Benfica supporter, but I won't believe on that. I think I think Benfica went to several finals after that, and they deserved to win. In a way, they play as we won the Europeans without playing a great football. That's just football. Like I managed games and we won it without deserving, and then played fantastic games and lost it. Is a game, and it's a hard game. Sometimes who plays the most attractive play is not the winner.
I remember the game against Chelsea. They played so well in that European Cup final, but they couldn't win it. Matic hit the post, and
Exactly.
curse was real.
So every time Benfica achieves a final, the newspapers bring that in.
Yeah,
if that brings something to the players, I don't know. Most of them, they are foreigners. They are from Serbia, Argentina, Brazil. They weren't alive back then. So if that affect the structure of the club, well, maybe, I don't know, because they're older, the director, the president. But I don't think at that level of players step into the pitch thinking about that.
Maybe just the fans.
Pedro, I actually had another question for you on the management side of the game. During the season, there's a lot of ups and downs, right? So basically, when the team's winning, the team's doing well, everything's going well, everyone's happy. But what are the things that you learn, or what are the things that you do differently when the things are not going so well? Well, you lose back-to-back, 3 games back to the row. Do you start changing things tactically, or what are the things that you do differently in those types of situations?
I think we need to be cold blood. We as assistant coach, I lived the situation like that. Also as the under 19 Z coach, but that was on academy level. It's slightly different. But when I was working for Sporting de Covilhã in second league in Portugal with José Augusto, this manager worked with in Portugal, and we went to the club in September, so they sacked the previous manager, and we had an amazing run with, I think, 15 games without losing.
Wow.
And so we got the team on the bottom, and we went all the way up to the 6th position on the table. And then we went to a situation like winning, losing, draw, losing, winning, losing, winning, winning. And then we get into the place where we had 5 back-to-back defeats. Wow. 5 weeks without winning. That was, and then we keep dropping on the league. And that was a time where you're thinking, what I'm doing wrong. I like to analyze things on a way that the process, how we losing these matches. Are the players committed? In this case, I'll use this case. Yes, they were committed. They were organized. Yes, they were organized. Did we play well? We didn't play fantastically all the matches, but in average, we played enough to win matches. Are they training well? Are the players look after themselves? Yes. Are we doing our job? Yes. Are we feeling that the players are with us? When I mean with us, doesn't mean they are in love with the coaching staff, but they follow. Do you feel that they follow you? And I felt in that particular case that the players wanted to make things happen so much that, well, just keep doing, because keep believing. And then I remember the match, a part of one that we lost 3-0 and we completely deserve it to lose that match. All the other ones were like drawing because we commit a silly mistake, or you considered a fantastic goal, and then sometimes the opposition is just better than you, and we have to deal with that because you're playing against another team and they're just better than you. So I think we need to stick with the process and see what we've been doing, if he's doing correctly, and people are with you, and if they are with you, in this case the players were with us and the structure of the club were with us, and things end up fine. Obviously we struggle a little bit at the end of the season because of that 5 defeats put us down on the league, on the table again, but I think it was fantastic. And even a couple days ago, I was talking with a player, the captain of that team. He's still there, and they were saying that above all was a great experience, a great learning process.
Good.
But we have to have very cold blood, because we have the fans, we have the president, and you always have 1 or 2 players that start using that, saying, "Well, are you not playing me?" Blah blah blah. I think a big tool for that also is filming your training sessions and the games.
Yeah.
So you can have proofs that what you're doing, and if everyone is committed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy being a manager, eh, Pedro?
No, not really.
So we like to finish our podcast with a little Q&A. We're going to put you in a little pressure to see.
Okay, burning already.
So we're going to ask you to build your team. We're going to start from the back. Choose between the 2 players that we choose. So the first one I have is...
You'll choose the players.
You're going to choose the players. So your center backs. Would you rather have Bruno Alves or Ricardo Carvalho? It's a tough one, huh?
I choose Ricardo Carvalho just because one thing, that Bruno Alves, I love him as a player, but I don't know him personally, not even Ricardo Carvalho, but I love Bruno Alves. But every time he goes for 1v1 tackle, I think the ref will go with the yellow card on his hand already. And Ricardo Carvalho, he looks like that angel, but he's so nasty. He's still kicking people around. So I'll choose Ricardo Carvalho because of that. Sorry, Bruno.
In midfield, to have your creative piece, who would you have, Deco or Rui Costa?
Well, I think Deco is Rui Costa on his prime time. Come on.
Yes, I just watched the game against Real Madrid in the Champions League the other day, and he was...
No, Rui Costa on prime time was... come on.
So you take a Rui Costa?
Yes, I take Rui Costa.
Okay. And then the toughest one to forward line, at your forward line, Cristiano or your favorite, Luis Figo?
Well, I'll take Luis Figo because he made me love this game.
Wow, okay.
And Ronaldo doesn't need my support to be who he is.
And lastly, who's going to be the manager?
Of this team?
Yes, of this team that you have right now.
Myself.
Yeah. Good answer. Good answer.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome, Pedro. I thank you for taking the time to be on this OPSM podcast. We had a great time, and we wish you all the best. And hopefully, when the season comes back to play.
Thank you for having me, guys. That was fantastic. I don't know how long it took, but it was very smooth, very quick. Great.